So thank you so much, my viewers. I'm Teacher Shem Okinyi. Last week I did a presentation and it was about the content of English Paper 1 Language B. So today I want to do another presentation which is on text analysis. I want us to see how we can analyze a text before we can start answering the exam questions. But before we start, please take just 1 second or two, subscribe to my channel if you have not subscribed, like, comment, and you can share. Thank you. Now, to analyze a text, there are key points that you need to identify and understand how to deal with them before you start your reading and even during your reading. So let's start by looking at just a few skills that you need to have or you need to acquire for you to get it very simple to understand and even to analyze any given text. I'm going to use slides so you can look at your screen. The slides which will be running, please. You can also have a pen and a notebook so that as we slide, you can take down the notes. So from my first slide, I have given some skills or some reading skills that will help you in analyzing a text. The first thing is skim or to skim. And skimming is quickly reading a text to get the main ideas without focusing on details. That is when you just read a text so quickly because you just need to get the general idea. You just need to have a glimpse of what the text is about. And then scanning or to scan. So to scan is to quickly read through a text just to find a specific information. Therefore, to skim is to read very quickly to get a glimpse of what the text is about. To scan is reading very quickly through a text to find a specific information. And then the third one on the same slide is the explicit meaning. Now, explicit meaning is just that information that is clearly stated and easy to see or understand. And then we have the implicit meaning, which is the information that is not directly stated, but can be understood through the clues or the context. So you must be able to imply the explicit meaning and also the implicit meaning. So relate the text, what you are reading, to the information or the knowledge you already have and your experiences. Then you will be in a position to understand the text even much better. Let's move to the second slide. If you look at my second slide, now, when you are doing text analysis, the first thing you are supposed to do is read the text carefully. Reading the text, we have two readings. Some people would prefer reading, and some people would even read a text 3 times. Now, first reading is you skim, just as we have said. Skim through the text so that you get a clue. You get the general understanding of the topic. And then do the second reading, where you now read closely, focusing on specific details, the techniques, and even the patterns that we have used in that text. Then the third point is annotate the ideas, the themes, the standout phrases for references. So the first thing you are going to do is to read the text carefully, do the first reading, and skim. Read so fast, so quickly, just to get a clue, just to get the general understanding. Then the second point is read again, and as you read for the second time, make sure you focus on the specific details techniques and patterns. Then the third point on the same reading is annotating the key ideas. Let's move to the next slide. So the next point, when analyzing a text, you need to identify the purpose and the audience. Purpose, that is now what is the author's intention. Is the author's intention to inform, to persuade, to explain, to entertain? There's so many purposes of a text, but just identify the purpose, the writer's intention, the purpose of that text. Then the next point is you also need to identify the audience. Who is the intended reader? Who is the intended reader? So you need to consider the age, the profession, the interest, or level of expertise. Those are the 2 points under identifying the purpose and the audience, which is very, very important when doing text analysis. Let's get to the third point. What you also need to do when doing text analysis. So I will take you to my third slide. The third point which you also need to do is to identify the themes and the content. So themes will also help you understand what the story is about or what the text is about. Therefore, consider any broader issues or topics the text explores. What is that text talking about? Again, the main ideas. Which are the main ideas or the central arguments of the message of the text? And then the third point under identifying the themes and content is to support your evidence. So you need to evaluate the use of fact, data, examples, and case studies to check your claims. So under identifying the themes and content, make sure you are able to identify the themes, main ideas, and also give support or evidences. The next slide on text analysis, we have identifying of the structure and organization. What about the layout? How is that text organized? So identify the layout, analyze the headings, because some text will have the headings and some will even have the subheadings. The paragraph structure, we could be having short paragraphs, we could be having long paragraphs. And remember also to include the effects of using short paragraphs and long paragraphs. And then the second point under the structure and organization is understand the flow. So you need to analyze the flow of ideas. What comes first, then what follows, and then what last. Then the last one on the same point is introduction and conclusion. How does the text begin? How does the writer introduce his message, his ideas, his story, and what about the conclusion? And therefore, for the structure and organization, please, my viewers, make sure you understand the layout, the flow, and introduction, and the conclusion. The next slide, which is the fifth slide, is identifying the language and style. For this, you need to understand the tone, whether the tone is informal, persuasive, conversational, or analytical. And ask yourself if the tone suits the purpose. The second point on language and style, make sure you are able to analyze the language devices. So look for the rhetorical devices, for example, metaphors, we have repetition. So you need to come up with the language devices, language techniques. There's so many, metaphors, similes, alliteration, time marker, list of three, statistics, there's so many. So you can come up, you can identify them. And then the next point on language and style is clarity. Is the language clear? Is it precise? Is it, accessible for the intended audience? So, my viewers, those are the 3 points under language and style. Let's look at the next slide, and that is on the author's perspective. This is where you are going to understand or try to identify the point of view. What stance does the author take? Is the stance subjective or is it objective? That is the author, giving multiple of views, or is the author trying to be in support of one side of the story? The second point is bias. So, at this sign of partiality or one-sided, what about the author's claim? How does the author bring the story? So you need to consider the inclusion or omission of information. If the writer if the author is very inclusive, or the author is only bringing a side of the story. Credibility is the 7th point on the next slide. Credibility and sources. So identify the author's credentials. So ask yourself, does the author have expertise or authority on the topic? How does the author bring his ideas? Do we have the use of authoritative language? Do we have some explanations? Do we have facts? Do we have, you need to identify them. And then the sources, Do we have, use of, research done? Or do we have the quotations, So are they reliable then? Is the information recent, or how relevant is that information? And then lastly is factual accuracy. So ask yourself as you read that text, are the claims supported by evidence? Are there any, evidence to support the claims? As you read that text, try to identify if at all we have facts, if at all we have proofs or evidences, Let's move to the next slide, my viewers. And that slide is organize your answers in PEE format. So we talk of PEE format, then that is point, evidence, explanation. So the first point, the first thing you do is write the point. Point is the idea. What point have you, have you come up with from the text? Which point or what point have you identified? You can write it down, then give evidence for that point. And the evidence must come from the text. And then after giving your evidence, you now give explanation. As you explain your point, make sure you relate to the question, relate it to the question, and relate it to the text. So make sure you link the idea so that there's a flow from the point, evidence to your explanation. That is what we call PEE. And then after that, the next slide is a summary of the points we have just explained there. So in summary, we can say to analyze a text, you are going to start by identifying the purpose of the text, themes of the text, sentence structure, choice of words, language and style, author's perspectives and bias, credibility and source, and then finally use PEE. Thank you very much. Allow me once again remind you, my viewers, that if you have not subscribed to my channel, kindly please subscribe, so that next time I produce another video, YouTube will automatically send notification to your phone and you will have the video with you. Thank you for watching. Thank you so much, and may God bless you.